There's one major piece from my McLaren which we are missing, and it's stopping us going any further with this project, and it is, of course, the engine. And really, for us to continue with this build, is what we need. We need that to be able to see, well, how it's going to run, how it's going to work, if there's any other faults, and also to put the roof up and down, because it won't let us do that until the engine's running, which isn't even in the car. So, we're going to go take a trip down to Ricky at RE Performance today, because he's got that engine stripped down, and we're going to see how much it's going to cost me in order to rebuild and strengthen. And to go there, we're going to take one of my favouriteest ever cars ever, the M3. Right, so if this looks familiar, this is my gearbox, and it is probably the filthiest one that has ever come down. Ricky.
Filthiest. Hello, mate.
At RE.
Thank you for coming down.
It's okay, thanks for having us, and also my very dirty engine and gearbox, which also needs some work.
I do like how it's dirty inside.
I've never seen anything like that before in my life, to be honest with you. What is it, mud?
Work. Yeah, mud, rusty water, bit of everything.
Nice.
This is where we find out you can add that your car was flooded as well.
Oh, right, okay.
I think this is because this is your back frame, isn't it, where
Yes.
it's impacted. So I don't think that's too bad, mate. You can buy these bolt on. Structurally, it's okay.
I think we've got away pretty lightly, really.
Yeah, you need the ice blaster guys on it, don't you, really?
I mean, you'll clean it, right?
Jet wash it.
Nice. So over here, we've got the engine, which you've started stripping down, and these here are all the bits off it.
The only damage I've found, let me grab it, the two things we found, that is one.
We've got a nice damaged alternator.
So that's the alternator, and then a heat shield. Now I think I've got both of those, so it's not, you haven't got to go Mclaren prices with those. And then, so I've stripped off this side, so that's where your alternator lives.
Yep.
So your oil pump's driven off a chain, and then it's got a drive out the back of it, it drives your alternator. So you've got top and bottom brackets. It is the dirtiest engine I've ever been brought.
Thank you.
How many miles has it done?
No idea.
Right, okay.
Some. And it's probably been clocked as well.
Definitely done some miles.
Definitely more than one.
I think, if I'm honest, a lot of it, I was just chatting to the guys a minute ago, I think a lot of this, because if you look, like, of how the dirt is, it kind of flows that way. So I think what's happened, because they're bloody renowned for doing it, is the breather plate and what holds the oil filter housing in the centre is plastic, and they crack. So I think what's happened in the past is the oil filter bracket, which lives like this, has cracked, and it's been replaced. I don't think it's cracked now. We replace them anyway, because they're plastic, they get heat just pounded into them, and they become weak and brittle, and they split. So I think what's happened in the past is this is split because people over tighten the caps as well and crack the housings down the side. So what I think has happened is it's cracked in the past and filled the V up, because you can almost see the swage line inside it.
Yeah, it's got a tide line.
And then as you've been driving, it's kind of rolled down the back of the engine and run down the sides, which is why it's so bad. So we get it all stripped, cleaned, we'll go through all that.
Okay.
We'll put a new bracket on it. Pair of new thermostats, because these fail as well. We'll do secondary air delete on it. Have you announced what you're doing?
Well, no, we're going to do it right now, though. Well, we're going to make it stronger, because I feel like it makes no sense to go this far with this and not make it a little bit better, because these are known for problems, aren't they?
Yeah, so 600 foot-pounds really, and you start bending rods. The older ones had aluminium liners in, and they can crack as well. So
Okay. Is this an older one?
this is yeah. So basically, this is what's called an M838T engine. So this is a 8-cylinder, 3.8 litre turbo, and it's the same from 12C all the way pretty much to 600 LT. They haven't changed. Rods take a beating.
Yep.
So that's what you've got to be careful when you tune
Is that
them.
what happened to Freddie's? Did Freddie bend the rod on his? Yeah, okay.
And then they bend so far, and then they break.
Yes.
And then when they break,
They blow holes.
They blow holes.
Yeah.
What we want to do there is we want to move away from the risk. I've got some cast rods, so I'll show you what the rods look like as well. So regardless of what we're doing or what you're planning to do to increase the power, while it's apart, you may as well put a set of rods and pistons in it.
Absolutely. I think it's stupid not to at this point.
We've got those. We'll use head studs, main studs, and then, like I said, the crankcase is glued together, so that's resealed. Pair of head gaskets, pair of rocker covers, and then the front timing covers are glued on as well. Strip the heads, new valve stem seals. We'll see what condition the valves are in and what the condition of valve train's in. But it's the question I always ask is, what's your aim with it? Because what I tell you to do for an OEM build stock tuning is different to if you go, yeah, I want to go and do a 7.
I want to do something that makes it worthwhile, because we've got all this stuff being revamped and refreshed, and we're making it stronger. I think my aim with it is not to make it stupid, but make it modern.
Yeah, I
so
think
whatever the modern cars have, just a little bit more than that.
So almost like then, really, like a 765 beta. So
Yeah,
like
maybe.
an OEM plus kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe even just 720, but something that's like fast.
So you're not going full frame turbo and
No.
big, yeah. So what I'd say there is you haven't got to go like Darton liners and stuff like that. We haven't got to go crazy with different crank. I would say we'll use a crank, different rods, different pistons, and then just literally blueprint it top to bottom. And you will not believe how this is going to come back to you. That is a good thing about it. When you brought sparkly engines, so that's a V10 GT3 engine, and if I handed it back to you, slightly cleaner than that.
You wouldn't really notice.
No. Whereas this,
there's not one good bit on it really, is there? It all looks a mess.
I think you're going to spend more money on preventative maintenance than you are on anything else, because they like to knock cams out, they like to do variators, and they like to do rods. So obviously doing the rods. We'll get the cams apart and have a look. So you're looking for wear marks on the camshafts. They can wear out the lifters as well. So we'll have a look, see if you've got DLC lifters in them or not.
I'd just like to say at this point, by the way, I know not a lot about engines in the sense that I would never be comfortable taking it this far apart. How much do you want to do today?
Well, I think we'll pull a head off.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah,
I'd love to do that.
We're not too far away. That's why I wanted all the covers off. The main thing is, I've got the plugs out, and I just want to show that we can turn it over, because I think originally you were worried it was locking up, wasn't it?
Mate, that was a potential worry with it being upside down, yeah.
But I can turn that round. There's nothing there that scares me. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it. The lock-in on the Mclaren is here. So we'll lock them up, pull the variators off the front, pull the cams out, we'll pull the head off, and then I can show you then how your pistons look.
And then we can see if the engine is bad or just medium
yeah,
bad.
I don't think it'd be bad. What we're looking for then is cracked liners, and have you got wear on skirts? We know we're changing rods and pistons. Are we going to have to change liners?
Is that a genuine Mclaren tool?
That is a genuine Mclaren tool, mate. No expense spared here. So I've taken the tensioner off. I've taken the guides out, just undone the bolts. You can't get this guide out, the other guide's out. So that when I pull the variator off, the tensioner doesn't go ba-doing. Then I've got the lock in, and we've just undone them.
There's so many bits to this, isn't there?
These are a doddle, mate, honestly. The V10 sat behind you, they're way harder.
I'm sure you can see now, if you're watching this video, why I didn't want to do this myself. I think to go from not doing engine work to even attempting to do this is would be a bit silly.
If it turned up to you in a box of bits and you were like just putting it together is one thing, but I think where you want to try and support power and actually put it in and not worry about it, this is where an engine builder is just going to offer you
peace of mind. I think it's something you can't buy sometimes. What do? You say if you've built an engine, right?
Yep.
And it blows up within like 3 weeks, what? Do you
now,
go instantly bankrupt or?
No, there's a lot of if, buts and maybes in there. So I understand the point and I understand the wariness especially if you find a new engine builder. So this is why I bought a dyno, because I wasn't happy with the liability of me building you a 30, 40, 50,000 pound engine, but you've chosen an absolute moron to tune it. And then when it goes bang,
whose fault
it's my
is it?
fault.
Yeah.
Because it's always the engine builder's fault.
Yeah, unless there's not been an engine that's built, then it's the person who's tuned its fault.
So then the question is, now you as the customer now are put in a very awkward position between the engine builder and the tuner, because neither of them think it's their fault.
Did you say it was worth me getting some sort of aftermarket ECU for it?
You can do, but again, because it's already a turboed car and the stock ECU, for the level you'll go in, I would probably
My
say...
ECU is damaged though, so yeah, I need to replace it.
Even then, like I can get you, we've done a couple of these on Cyvex.
Yeah. Does that mean I get like rolling anti-lag and stuff if I do that? Yeah, that is quite cool. Am I really going to get anything out of it, or is it just going to be a ball ache?
You're going to get some functionality. Again, Chris, it depends what you're wanting to do with this car. If you just literally want to jump in it, drive it, it's 800 horsepower and you don't want to mess around, stock ECU is the answer. Okay. So what you've got there is, you've got four sets of lobes trying to sit on a rocker at a different position, and they naturally want to, that's where it naturally wants to sit. Yeah. But can you see where my lock-in position is now? Mm-hmm. It doesn't want to sit where it was. So this is now, as you try to get the lock-in tool in, you've got to start getting the cams on, start getting the caps on, and then juggle the cam into the right place. The caps are numbered, so they've got arrows, so it points to the front of the engine, and the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then they're consecutive on the other side, so you can't muddle banks up. This is what we're saying now about sort of catching all of the preventative maintenance. I don't know whether you can quite see. So what it's done is, can you see the coating at the bottom?
Yes, I can see that.
So it's come through the coating and it's wiped it off. And now if you feel that, it's actually got like a ridge to it. There you go. This one's worse, look. So I don't know whether you can see. That's actually cavitated out. Can you see it's starting to pick the metal away?
If you had to guess at this point, how many miles do you reckon this has done?
I would, to be fair, mate, 60, 70. But also, the oil doesn't help. What's coming out of this is sludge.
It's funny because the track experience company emailed me and said, yeah, the car's serviced every 1,000 miles.
Yeah. The head boltings.
Okay.
So we want to try and undo them. Well, at least your heads are on tight, mate.
That's a positive, I guess. These are tight, aren't they?
These are tight, mate. That's a big old bar, that. So they're pretty beefy, and then you obviously have the washer underneath, but you can see there the threads are extremely dry.
They're going in the bin anyway.
They are going in El Trasherino.
We're getting studs.
Right, so
Hello.
McLaren heads, don't put them upside down because the shims fall out. You've got no obvious signs of blow-by. So you can see here, look, this circle here is the complete liner that the piston runs in.
Right.
So it's a sacrificial part almost. That's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
It's a sacrificial part that you can't get. When we source OEM ones, what we actually source is GT3 stock, old race engine stuff, because McLaren will not sell you these. But what it allows us to do is not throw the block away when there's damage to the cylinders.
Yeah.
And then basically you put hardened liners in to help you deal with the cylinder pressure when you increase performance. So all I want to do here is just get all of that, where it was upside down and the balls are full of oil, I just want to get that out. The first thing that's a good sign is you can still see the cross-hatching down it. So what you haven't got there is the skirt hitting on the liner and dragging.
Which is going to make its own grazing.
That's it.
Yep.
You start to get vertical lines.
And you need that because that deals with like the distribution of oil.
Yeah, if you were to make the hone-in perfectly perpendicular to the direction of piston, you'd have amazing cylinder sealing, but it would never drain any oil off. So what you do there is you just have a liner that was plastered in oil. If you did the lines in the direction of travel of the piston, you'd have amazing oil drain off, so the oil would run off the liner, but you'd have no cylinder sealing.
Right.
So that's
That's your
why,
balance, that's your
exactly
middle ground,
that.
yeah.
And if you start looking at engine builders, there's a couple in the States who specialise in just hone-in blocks because they'll play with the angle, they'll play with the finish, they'll play with depth.
Yeah, we're probably a little bit too geeky for me, to be honest with you.
And then if we go the other way, you can see now we've looked at both minor and major thrust, and we've got no discernible wear pattern.
So we're saying 2 out of 8. Good.
So far, so good. So that's both of those at bottom dead centre.
So we've got a little bit more of the vertical there, but you can't
Yeah.
feel that at all, can you?
So what's happened there is a little bit of debris, like a bit of charcoal or something's got caught on top of the top ring. Because if you look at the shading where it stops, that's pretty much where the top ring parks. Because the crown of the piston will sit flush with the top of the liner. So it's just got caught on the top of the ring, and eventually it's burnt away. And again,
Same there, yeah.
little one there. It's in the same way that if you scuff past your car with your jeans,
Yeah, that
and
level
you
of
leave
scratch.
you leave a scuff on your car, but
Yeah.
it's nothing. As long as the liners are in good condition, we won't have to do anything with those, to be honest. Yeah, and everything looks really good, mate.
That's a bit of good news.
Yeah.
We have got another bank, which could be an issue.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's it. I mean,
let's not count our chickens.
you're 50% of the way there. But again, like I said, because they're sacrificial, it doesn't write your engine off. So what we've got here is MLS gasket, or what's called multi-layer steel gasket, but that's only a 2-layer. So we go
Yeah,
to
3
upgraded
now,
ones. Yeah, we go to 3-layer. Valves look pretty good. Nothing scary. Things to watch out for is on your squish pad here. This is the closest point to your piston. So this is a good indication now, like sometimes your rod bearings will go and your piston will kiss your head and clean that right up. No build up on your valves. They all look pretty good.
And people would have you believe that McLaren engines are really unreliable.
They're really unreliable when they're tuned poorly. All the Ferraris, not turboed. Until a 488,
Yeah.
admittedly. All the Lambos, not turboed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's the first real mass-produced supercar that was turboed. Everyone tunes them, ask them to do things they don't want to do, and then don't service them.
The thing with McLaren, I think, is they're always like pushing it a little bit with what they're doing. They're doing something that's a little bit more forward thinking. But whether that's a good thing or not sometimes, who knows?
And again, mate, nothing
Yeah.
scary on these. We'll pull the liners out because we'll put new liner seals in anyway. But they look good, to be fair, mate. I'm always worried because they crack along the top hats. There's no signs of that, to be fair. So I think bottom end wise, it will be decent bearings, so new rod bearings, new main bearings, main studs, new rods, new pistons, new timing chain kits, new variators. The main thing is going to be lifters and cams because of the wear on the lifters. We put a set of variators in it as well. You can see there, look, they start to wipe over. So again,
Not horrendous, just not ideal.
if you're building it, you're putting new parts in. Yeah. So we'll have new cams, new variators, new bolts. The caps are fine. We've got studs to go in it. The next thing then is to strip the heads, new valve stem seals, and I'll measure out the springs and we'll see what state the valves are in.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the new parts, because now we've done the bit that you understand.
Do you want to look at some shinies?
Yeah, I want to look at some shiny stuff. So you've had these kind of in stock for a car
Yeah,
that you
so
never
I sat
ended
here,
up
I
building.
was going to build an engine. It's sat over there, and you've beat me to it.
I always feel like engine parts look too nice to put in an engine.
I know. And a set of pistons.
They're pretty.
And let me just go and I'm sure I've got stock rods somewhere, and I can show you the comparison.
That would be great to see.
There's a stock rod for comparison.
So that's stock. That's
Yeah.
the one we're putting in. So they
Yeah.
are like twice as thick, aren't they?
Yeah.
In comparison, what would these be good up to compared to them?
CP, they don't give you a power rating.
Okay.
They just go,
They're strong
stronger.
boys.
It's up to you. It's very hard to sit here and go, it will do X power.
I know, yeah. It's
'Cause
just
that-
what everyone wants to hear, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
these are
2,000 horsepower rods. You won't run out of rod.
Good, okay. Can I say, by the way, these are like crazy light. Is that how light the standard pistons are?
They'll be probably slightly heavier, not much in it, but it'll offset because the rod will be slightly heavier. So what we'll have to do is then with a crank, we just have to get it all balanced because we've got to check your DLD, driveline damper.
So basically, if you've got any kind of supercar engine, really, you're the man to come to.
Pretty much, mate.
We're that awkward customer who wants it fast and good.
We always have this conversation with people. There's three options. You can have it fast, reliable, or cheap. You only get to pick two.
Can I have 3? Yeah. So I need you guys to go and pester Ricky on his channel to get this done as fast as we can, because how long do you reckon it's going to take?
Well, I would really like now, over the next week or so, we'll make a list of what we need to get, what I've got, what we've got ordered from Mclaren.
Yep.
But it'd be very nice to be able to give this back to you by the end of January, really.
That's what we want.
Providing, like I said, rods, pistons we've got, bearings we'll have to order, then the McLaren-based items, as long as they can get them pretty quick,
Yep.
then we'll be all right.
And then you're going to come up and fit it with us or not? We want to see it running. Like, you know, if it runs and we turn it on and it blows up.
Yeah. Right, thanks. We don't talk about them kind of things.
I think it'd be cool if it did, because I also wanted to ask you about like, running in, but...
Running in wise, so we kind of do it the same on our builds. 3 heat cycles, drop the oil and fluid. So 3 heat cycles is hot, oil temp all the way up. Just let it sit there and idle, don't do anything. Change fluids, because it'll be full of molly grease and build lube and all that sort of stuff that we use to assemble the engine. Dump the oil and filter, but do your fluid change, and then literally start to build it up with revs.
Okay.
So like, 50, 60 miles at 4,500.
So how long till we can get it on a dyno?
So as long as you're not proper trying to get on the boost, we might have to juggle it on a dyno and do both, depending on how far away we move it away from stock, because that's the challenge. When we start changing things in a recipe and we want to run an engine in at the same time, sometimes you've got to be doing both. You've got to be tuning and running in. Yeah. Because I'm going to want you to load the engine. So I don't want you to rev it out, but I want you to get on it. But the problem with that is if you've changed your turbos and your boost control is wrong, you're going to fight issues. So that's maybe where we end up doing getting it running, doing your heat cycles, and we do both on the dyno.
Okay. I can work with that, because that means I can get to drive it faster, quicker.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds good to me.
But yeah, there's nothing there I worry about. A lot of it is you're going to do more on preventative maintenance than you are on go fast goodies.
So to answer the title, the truth about the McLaren engine is...
It's the dirtiest one I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you very much. So if you enjoyed this video and you're excited about the McLaren engine and how far we're going to go with it, which I've not fully decided yet, make sure to subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the main channel, like this video, and I'll see you some other time.